Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Brunch with Bree. Today, I'm going to talk about prioritizing yourself. Do you do that? Do you need help doing that? Why don't you do that? So, we're going to kind of dive into these topics and find out, first off, why it's so important to prioritize ourselves. And second, how exactly to do that. What might be some of the things keeping you from making yourself a priority? And you might say, well, I treat myself to coffee in the morning before work. I don't think that's necessarily a prioritization. I mean, caffeine is a prioritization, but not of yourself. So we are really going to dive into what that all means. So, in the context of healing, in the context of challenges, whether you're facing a health challenge, financial challenge, relationship challenge, grieving the loss of somebody, helping somebody through end of life processes, all of this, we tend to really put others before ourselves. Sometimes in health, we have to, do things that seem like we're prioritizing ourselves, like getting ourselves to the doctor or starting supplements or medications. We feel like that, we're prioritizing ourselves, but we're really not. We're doing that out of necessity. And that is a big difference. So let's start with some things that might prevent us from prioritizing ourselves. One, our culture and our programs and our upbringings are a huge key to understanding why we don't prioritize ourselves. You might be raised in a home that you're just not allowed to take time for yourself. You're considered selfish or lazy, or the list really goes on depending on what your home life looked like and what your childhood looked like. You could have been in a family where you really had to make sure everyone else was taken care of before you even thought about yourself. So those are huge programs and subconscious programs we run on from an early age. Another one is perfectionism. Another, cultural and personality thing is striving for perfection in all aspects of our life can really lead to us neglecting our own needs. So, if you want to be the perfect person in your role at work and you really need perfection, you want your subordinates to have perfection. If you yourself strive for perfection, you will probably be working overtime, taking on the big projects, stressful projects, going the extra 10 miles, not the extra mile, but the extra 10. Where does that leave space for you? If you have extra, you give it to your job and your business and whatever you're doing, and that goes for all aspects. Let's say you think, exercise and being healthy, and you strive for that perfection, that healthy, perfect body. And you think that's prioritizing yourself because it's your body. And you think, oh, if I prioritize my health and my body, that's prioritizing me. But then you expend so much energy and it becomes more of a stressor than a helpful prioritization. People can go to the extremes, spending all of their time on diets, on exercise routines, on the next fad, and then, of course, the perfectionist body, where, people might go get hair extensions, tans, cosmetic surgeries. I mean, the list really, really goes on. So, there can be an extreme to that as well. People pleasing is another big reason we put ourselves on the back burner. Taking care of other people's needs before your own, leaves very little room for self-care. Usually, if we prioritize everyone else before us, we're exhausted by the time we get to us, if we ever get to us. This also goes in line with overcommitting. Saying yes to too many obligations leaves very little time for you. So that, they're kind of similar. Most people overcommit because they are either perfectionist and overcommit to their work. They're people pleasing, overcommit to other people. And that also feeds into lack of healthy boundaries. A lot of people struggle with having healthy boundaries with their spouse, with their partners, with their children, with their friends, with their parents. So creating healthy boundaries and, just really even starting to define what that could possibly look like. Some people haven't even thought about how to have healthy boundaries in their, relationships. Another huge one is self doubt, the lack of self compassion, self love. You feel unworthy and undeserving of self care. You feel like your self care, there's this huge list of other things that really you think come first. And that has, tickles down to the point of not feeling worthy for taking time for yourself. You're putting everyone else above you, and you really need to, rearrange those priorities. And then, of course, societal pressures kind of plays into, how we were raised, what society says, especially in Western culture and many other cultures around the world. You're supposed to prioritize work. Work is number one. You please the boss, you please the company, and then, you can start to trickle down from there with making sure you have a stable income to support the rest and making sure your job is secure and you can climb the ranks and, get further ahead. Or, if you work for yourself, making that next move, really working on your business, putting in more hours, making sure it's really good, being there for your employees if you have any. So work has usually always come first. Then family. Sometimes some people are able to prioritize family first, but most people in Western society have not been able to do that. So family is usually second on that list. And, your family includes your spouse, your kids, your parents, then, maybe some extended family. And then, of course, your friends. Friends are considered family. So we we keep going down and down and down until we finally get to our well-being, our own self, and we prioritize ourselves. Most, a lot of times last. And, all the programs and just expectations that we set on ourselves, that society sets on us, it's all cause to choose ourselves last. But when we choose ourselves last, we actually hinder the progression of all the other things we've been prioritizing. So we probably get to a point where we're burned out. I don't know if you're there yet, if you're on your way there, or you've got this self prioritization thing just nailed down. But if you keep putting yourself last, eventually you will run out, you will burn out, you will dry up. And then what else starts to hurt and is affected? That job, your business, your family, your friends. So when you prioritize yourself first and you make sure you're always at the top of your game and you're always feeling, the best you can, then all of these stay pretty stable, because it's always pouring over into them instead of, trying to fill up instead of, pour over. So it's really important to prioritize ourselves for all of these different reasons. If you feel like I do not have that, I'm not worthy, I just don't have the time, I don't have the resources, I cannot do this for myself right now. Well, the others will start to fall apart and then it will become a thing out of necessity. And then you're, doing this upwards battle. So, how do we start to prioritize ourselves so that we never have to worry about the others running out and burning out? First one is self-reflection. Are you even reflecting on your hierarchy of priorities? What are your current priorities? And do they align with your wellness, your needs, short term, long term? Are they helping you build up these other aspects of your life? Or are they, just kind of put on the back burner? Where are your boundaries? Where are your boundaries with work? Where are your boundaries with family? Where are your boundaries with friends? Relationships and all of this. Clearly define your boundaries. Do you get paid to work from 9 to 5 but answer your phone 22 hours of the day? It's a priority or a boundary you can work on. Does your brother, ask you to clean your mom's house every week because they're really busy and you have a less packed schedule in their mind? Well, you have your own life going on, and just because it doesn't look like their vision of busy doesn't mean that doesn't make it really important to you. So, do you need to set those kind of boundaries? Do you need to practice saying no? Learn to decline requests and obligations that just don't align with your priorities. This was a big one for me to learn. Oh my gosh. I think all of this has been, oh, good. I thought my mic was on silent. The light was off. Sorry about that. So learn to decline requests that don't align with your priorities. That was a really big learning thing for me in just starting my business is, people who didn't align with me or, our goals, weren't aligned necessarily. And not saying that's a bad way, just sometimes I can't help the way that I would like to. Or they've got different goals and I don't have that expertise, so I refer them out. But learning how to decline those requests, like they really want to work with me, but it's just not a good fit. It was a big learning curve. And, saying no in my own life has become easier and easier over the years. I wrote in my last book something my sister said since she was a child about weeding your garden. If you don't have just full, beautiful flowers and you have some weeds popping up trying to steal your nutrients and destroy, the beautiful garden you've cultivated, it's okay to weed your garden and let those weeds go so that your garden could thrive. So in my personal life, I've been a lot better about saying no and declining requests that don't align with what I'm doing, whether, that it's, an activity or a business offer. It doesn't matter. If it doesn't align, it's okay to say no. Obviously, if it's a family member asking for a quick favor, it's not going to align with my big time goals, but it aligns with my relationship goals, of having great family relationships. So, make sure you understand what exactly your priorities are. Another huge one we mentioned, a lot of people don't take the time to prioritize themselves, or they don't know how, is because of the lack of self-compassion. And it is okay to treat yourself with kindness and understanding, and acknowledging the fact that self-care and self-prioritization and self-compassion is so essential for overall well-being. And when we don't hit these crazy expectations we usually set for ourselves or other people set for us, we beat ourselves up. Oh gosh, I'm just not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I ran out of time. I don't have enough energy. And oh, that's awful. What can I do to get better? What can I do to do more? Instead of, oh, maybe that's okay that I didn't reach this outrageous goal. And maybe you don't even think it's outrageous. Maybe it's just an expectation and you didn't reach it, but in your heart on yourself. Try understanding that not every single goal needs to be met, and it doesn't matter where it comes from. If it's a work expectation and if you tried your best, you really should treat yourself with kindness and understanding, even if no one else will. It starts with you. And if there are some expectations that you didn't try your best, you can still practice understanding and kindness and find out why you didn't try your best. Was it not aligned with your overall goals? Did it not make you passionate? Was it you're already too tired and you just didn't feel like giving anymore? Try to find out where those perceived failures are coming from. And that really will help you start in self-compassion, which then leads to self-care and self-prioritization. Another tool in our very, very busy life is scheduling time for self-care. And this is where you bump your priority of yourself from the bottom to the top. Maybe you really like to sleep that extra hour. Maybe you get 7-8 hours of sleep a night, maybe 5 or 6, but you really want that extra hour. Maybe if you're not actually sleeping very well, you can get up and, do something that is self-care. Sit with a cup of coffee in the morning, just without electronics, just with yourself, and just enjoy it. Enjoy the heat, the aroma, and then the caffeine is a really nice little boost in the morning. You can wake up early, a little early, and meditate. You can find little time, if you need to do it in chunks of time. Work lets you take 15-minute breaks usually. So, why don't you do that for yourself after work? And if you've got these tasks, I've got to clean, I've got to laundry, I've got dishes, I've got to take care of the dogs, I've got to mow the lawn, life goes on and on and on. Treat yourself like a business, like your job. You are your job. So schedule some breaks, and whether that is just a mindfulness break, laying on the couch for 10-15 minutes, a meditation break, tons of different things that you can do in little increments. If you feel a big scheduled hour or two is too time consuming, too scary, break it down. Delegate tasks if you can. That's another part of setting boundaries, is not just being able to say no, it's being able to ask for help. And this can be really an uncomfortable one. A lot of people struggle asking for help. I sure know I did. And that was one of my soul lessons, is to learn how to ask and accept help. And it really came to the point that I couldn't function without it. So don't let yourself get there. Start making little advances and asking for help. And the best part about this is most people love helping. They love to feel helpful. I know almost no one that does not like to feel helpful. I mean, of course, there are mental issues and, narcissism that gets in the way of that. But most normal human beings love to feel helpful. And if it's just something small, you can build on that. So just try practicing asking for help, and that way you can delegate tasks and make more time for yourself and more energy. So where are you at on your priority list? Are you number one? And if you are, how do you feel about that? Are you like, I'm number one, but it's really uncomfortable? Are you kind of in the middle of the list? And, what's stopping you from being, number one? I can't prioritize myself. That's selfish. That's, that's arrogant. That's, that's not right. Or are you at the bottom? Just, you've got so many other people you're taking care of, your work, your family, neighbors, whatever. Are you at the bottom? Be honest, put them in the comments, and, we can help you and figure out how to get you higher on your priority list, at least. And, making yourself a priority is so important. We will be diving way deeper into this next week for my 3-day workshop, all about, strengthening your mind, your body, and your soul from within. We will practice mindset, we will practice gratitude, we'll practice self-compassion, self-care, and a goal setting, and really combine this. So if you really feel like you want help and a kickstart and jumpstart, or maybe you're in the middle of your journey and you just need some extra power, the link should be in this description to sign up for that. And we start in a week exactly. So next Tuesday, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and that is May 5th or May 7th, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you need some conversion. And we will be doing an hour every day for 3 days, same time. So sign up today, grab your seat, and I am so excited to see you next week.